The story begins with a convoy arriving at a plane transporting dangerous prisoners. Among them, one stands out in particular, Hevlock, restrained with extra chains, a mask, and goggles to conceal his identity. He is guarded by personal security officers. Hevlock secretly extracts a hidden lockpick from his tooth and begins to pick the lock. At that moment, an explosion occurs. The engine fails. The pilots request an emergency landing, while the number of prisoners decreases due to a breach in the plane's fuselage. Having freed himself, Hevlock manages to grab the keys from one of the inmates who gets sucked out of the plane. He then fights the guards, demonstrating incredible strength. After the rear flaps fail, the plane loses control and crashes in a remote, snow-covered area. The surviving prisoners escape. Frank, a U.S. Marshal in Alaska, lives a peaceful life with his wife Sarah and son Luke, planning to retire soon and buy a new house. At work, he receives a report from firefighters about smoke in the mountains. Frank flies there by helicopter and quickly discovers the crashed plane. Finding that the prisoners have escaped, as indicated by discarded chains, the marshals locate a surviving officer. The officer warns them of an ambush. A group of escaped prisoners emerges from the forest and attacks the marshals. Frank fights back, but his partner Donnie is seriously stabbed. Frank kills the attacker. During the ensuing skirmish with the numerous convicts, Frank almost dies, but is saved by another survivor, a man with poor eyesight. Frank helps him aboard the helicopter and they fly away. Meanwhile, news of the crash reaches Bradford. She suspects they've been exposed and contacts Schofield, who was responsible for creating Hevlock. Bradford explains that Hevlock had been secretly captured in Russia and was being transported to Alaska, but their plan was compromised. Schofield calls Frank and orders him to secure the perimeter, which makes him laugh, as such a concept doesn't exist in Alaska. The rescued officer describes Hevlock as an extremely dangerous criminal who seemed to know that the moment his feet touched the ground, he would be free. At the search base, the marshals learn that at least 18 prisoners are missing. During a meeting, Frank surprises Schofield by naming Hevlock and demanding information in exchange for cooperation. Schofield reveals that 3 years ago, the CIA launched a program called Mole, fake defectors designed to lure out foreign agents. Hevlock was one of them, and for 2 years he was perfect. But a month ago, he switched sides. He was captured and secretly transported, but now his escape is only the beginning. Frank is convinced someone is helping him. The marshals receive a signal from a weather station 30 kilometers away. Frank doubts any convict could have reached it, but Schofield insists otherwise. At the station, they encounter a man who attacks them. Schofield orders him to be eliminated, but Frank urges negotiation. After a CIA dog subdues the attacker, Schofield realizes this is not Hevlock. Back at base, she double-checks the documents and realizes the officer they rescued was Hevlock himself. Frank tries to warn Sarah, but Hevlock has already moved to the next phase. He kidnaps Frank's wife. At the hospital, Frank accuses Schofield of withholding information. Soon, Hevlock contacts them via radio, tells Frank that Sarah is alive, and asks him for a favor, to become his liaison to change the world. The next day, Frank and his family encounter a prisoner named Sickler. He breaks his prosthetic limb, pulls out hidden cash, and asks to be taken to the police. Frank learns that Hevlock has stolen a top-secret document containing data on all past and future CIA targets. Releasing this data would cause a global catastrophe. A manhunt team led by Koval arrives. Meanwhile, knowing Frank won't return home, Hevlock hides in his house. He records a video of Sarah in which she pleads for an exchange. Her life for the prisoner in cell number 12, who turns out to be Sickler. Frank learns that Sickler, once involved in stealing from criminal organizations and losing his hands as punishment, refuses to cooperate. Tired of being a hostage, Sarah attacks Hevlock, but he easily disarms her. Later, Frank drives Sickler to the exchange point, but it turns out to be a trap. Hevlock intercepted the vehicle carrying the plane's black box and left Sarah's keys inside as a souvenir. In the forest, a group of fugitives captures a tourist, who turns out to be Hevlock in disguise. He pretends to be a fellow captive. Meanwhile, the police locate and rescue Sarah.
When the fugitives realize that the tourist is the escaped Hevlock, he attacks and subdues them. To survive, one of them, Bolga Guy, offers Hevlock leadership of their group. Hevlock contacts Frank, saying he has released Sarah since Frank fulfilled his previous favor. Now he needs a new one, Schofield's CIA account password. To prove his seriousness, he shoots one of the prisoners. The police trace the signal. Frank personally heads there. Hevlock asks Frank if Sarah knows about his little secret in the basement, hinting that he can help with it. While they talk, Schofield uses a helicopter to hook and lift the vehicle containing the prisoners. They try to escape but are captured. The helicopter delivers the vehicle to an armed unit. Unfazed, Hevlock breaks the window, drops the vehicle into a ravine, and escapes.